Good morning, boys. We are all looking forward to your return to school on Monday the 1st of June, and the school has been fiercely preparing to comply with all the regulations to keep you safe and to allow you the opportunity of getting back into the class. Please watch the following tutorial, which will explain to you the procedure you need to follow on Monday when you return to school. Ruan Visser is going to be our model for today. Good morning, Ruan.
Morning.
Right. When you arrive at school on Monday morning, the first thing that's going to happen, gents, is that you will disembark from your parents' cars, and if you have a look at the pavement, you will see that we have marked out little stripes at 1.5 meters distance. Please ensure that you don't congregate on the pavement, and please ensure that you join the queue to gain entry through the pedestrian gate of the school, and that you stand on your marker to comply with the social distancing rules. When you arrive on Monday morning, you're going to be issued a COVID questionnaire. This questionnaire, a little bit difficult to see in the light, but we will run through it in a little more detail. This questionnaire is effectively going to be your permit to access the school. On Monday, because you are only going to be receiving the permit, it will not be possible for your parents to sign your permit off or your questionnaire off. In order to gain access to the school, you will need to fill this questionnaire in on Monday whilst standing in the queue. It's fairly self-explanatory. You place your first name where it asks for first name, your surname where it asks for surname, and your cell phone number where it asks for the cell phone. You are then required to circle either yes or no in response to the question, have you been in contact in the last 14 days with someone who has tested positive with COVID-19? And then each and every day, but for Monday, only in Monday's column, you fill in the date, which will be the 1st of June, and then you are asked simply to circle a yes or no in response to the following symptoms. Have you experienced fever prior to arriving at school? Have you experienced a cough? Have you experienced a sore throat? Have you experienced body pains or aches? Do you have shortness of breath? Have you experienced a loss of taste or smell? Are you experiencing nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea? And then the daily temperature, and the screening officer will sign it off once we have got you through screening. You need to sign in the block that asks for the signature of the learner or the visitor. And on Monday afternoon, when you return home, you will ask your parents to sign in that block. Every morning this questionnaire needs to be filled in prior to arriving at school, and your parents need to sign it. Should you be stopped by an official from the Department of Basic Education or from the Health Department and you are unable to produce this permit, then the school will be deemed to not be complying with the regulations for opening of schools. Right, Ruan, let's walk you through the process. After receiving the questionnaire, and please note, if you'd look at me, Ruan, I'm sure his girlfriend is very happy with the fact that he's wearing his mask. Please understand that when you arrive at school, it is obligatory and compulsory for you to wear masks. It will be compulsory for you to wear a mask for your duration of time at school as well. Ruan has arrived at school now. He has his questionnaire. He will fill it in while he is walking down to the screening station. On arrival at school, he will proceed to the pedestrian gate, observing social distancing and making sure he's on the marker. Step 1, his hands will be sanitized. He will then proceed into the queue for the screening station. Please note that we have 2 lines that you may join. One on the left-hand side, you can see the marker indicating social distance, and one on the right-hand side. Ruan is going to join whichever queue allows him to get to the screening station. Remember that when Ruan arrives at school, there are going to be plenty of boys and staff members who will require screening before gaining access to the school. Please adhere to the social distancing markers that we have placed in order to comply with the regulations. Ruan will simply wait on the marker until the one in front of him is clear, and then he will move to the next marker until eventually he is at the front of the queue. You will note that on Monday we will have more than one desk at the screening station. For the purposes of this demonstration, we have only allocated one station for you. Ruan will proceed until he reaches the orange cone. This is the point at which he needs to stop and have his temperature taken. Please remember that we cannot take a temperature if you are wearing a beanie over your forehead. Pull your hair back as Ruan has done and the temperature will be taken. If your temperature is below 38 degrees Celsius, you will then proceed to the screening station. The screening officer, in this case Mr. Marks, will peruse your questionnaire, and if he is happy that you have circled yes to all of your answers, you will then be gained or granted access to the school. If there are any problems with your screening, what will happen is you will be escorted to an isolation station for further questioning. The isolation station will be positioned in front of the library. You can see Mr. Lovett walking through the isolation station.
Can you finish? Just walk behind me.
Ruan, could you show me your card, please? As you can see, Ruan has completed the card, and we're very fortunate that he has circled no's to all of the symptom questions, and he has now been given access to the school. Please note that the screening staff have signed. Without that signature, you do not have permission to enter the school premises. We cannot congregate around the screening station. Once you are screened, you need to automatically and immediately move past the screening officer and proceed down to the Hugh Wilson Square. We understand that one of the things that we have been missing is the camaraderie and the brotherhood that we experience at this school. Unfortunately, under current regulations, you will be required to observe social distancing at all times whilst on the school premises. Once you get down to the Hugh Wilson Square, you will note that we have put markers onto the square that are separated by 1.5 meters. This will allow you to stand on a marker and to still ensure that you are observing social distancing. On arrival on the Hugh Wilson Square, you may chat to your mates, or if you are so inclined, you may order yourself a cup of coffee from the tuck shop van. And also please note that you will be able to place orders for food from the tuck shop for collection at first break. Ruan is now standing on one of the markers on the Hugh Wilson Square, and if I just pan to the right, you will see a series of markers marking out areas that you can stand on. This will be the only area that you are allowed to congregate and socialize on during your time at school. The rest of the procedures will be explained once you arrive on Monday in a great deal of detail, but we hope that this little tutorial will make your arrival at school a little simpler. Thank you very much, Ruan.
Thank you.